So, Shannon, do we have everybody in and can everybody hear?
I think I haven't heard otherwise, but can everyone hear?
If you can hear or if you have problems, please chime in through the chat. And of course, if you can't hear us, then you wouldn't be able to do that, but it's a minor detail.
I've heard from everyone through the chat thus far. So.
Okay, great. Okay, so just to give you an idea what we did yesterday for those who were not here, and we are going to have people kind of popping in and out, we started exploring this map, similar to what I was kind of talking about, the world of Adilas, this data sphere, and how things interact. We're going to actually kind of start exploring. Yesterday, we started from the bottom, and we did locations and tax settings. We jumped over into web presence and e-commerce, and we jumped clear outside of the Adilas network into what we call the web presence, which we basically create this free website for you. The e-commerce portion, that is currently our project right now, and I'm probably about 20 hours into that project, and so this will be neat. Like, we're talking, I'll give you a quote right here, and don't hold me to this, but less than a month away, we'll probably have full e-commerce ready for you to go, okay? So this is really, really exciting. We jumped over here into tools and maintenance. Some of these corner pieces inside of our map, what they are is they're basically huge key pieces to, like, what is it that kind of keeps Adilas all together, okay? You need to be able to search. You need to be able to get history and reports. You need to be able to expose this stuff to the web, and it's all web-based. And then eventually you're going to have tools and maintenance. That's why we have these four little corners that are kind of encapsulating this whole area, if that makes sense. The next thing we kind of talked about is just roughly a little bit of floor plan. We might jump into that a little bit later today, but we also jumped into elements of time. And basically what we did yesterday, just to kind of give you an idea, is we started working with a whole bunch of different little pieces of our calendar. And I'm just going to kind of click in here to show you yesterday what we were kind of doing. But we have some stuff that's spanning across multiple days. We have other pieces that are smaller. We have other start and end dates. There's lots of different ways that you can explore time. And the more you use this little feature, the more that you can do it as far as like, hey, which pieces do you actually want in here? And you can say, hey, I just want certain templates. And so we can just limit this. So like below here, you can see how I have a whole bunch of different things showing up. As I limit pieces, you'll actually be able to change your entire outlook as far as like what it looked like. Say I wanted to start from 7:30 to 5 p.m., go by 15-minute blocks in the time slot, and I just want just the sewing projects, and I'm going to hide all of the daily subs, search. So on the exact same page, I just changed what we were just looking at into this. And then you're able to actually jump into this. So here's one that has an unknown ending point, okay? It says end unknown. This one starts and ends fairly close together. We were just kind of making some fun stuff. But you can see how this one spans across time because it actually lengthens out. If I actually go into one, this is just for fun, but what if I added one from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock? We'll just make a quick one. And we'll actually go in and call this one a customer time clock. It automatically remembered my 1 o'clock and the date. And I'm just going to say testing here. This is the date that it actually hits the calendar interface right here. Now, the ending time, I'm just going to say, hey, you know what, span this thing for 2 hours. And I'm going to kind of just blow through the rest of it just so that it actually hits the thing so you can see it. We'll say add that element of time. Here's the piece that I just created. It now has a new ID. I can now search it. It has a number of other pieces that are going on. I'm going to actually go into the daily time slot right here. And we're going to scroll down. Oh, I'm going to kind of refilter some of that so I can get rid of some of it. So I'm going to say I just want customer time clocks just for today. And let's search that. And I still have that rental from Mikkel in there. But basically this 109, 109, 109, it spans from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. This other one, 107, we ran it for a whole month to expand. Like, hey, we're going to run that one way long. So if I wanted to, watch this, if I wanted to hide this one, like technically it already exists, I could basically search for a portion of what I have in my little thing. Where this one says test, all I have to do is just come up here, use show hide criteria, come down here where it actually says filter the caption, the title. I'll just type in test, and all of a sudden the one from Mikkel completely disappeared, and I just have the one event. You're able to tweak this out tons and tons of different ways, lots of different things. You can go back and forward. So this is a play site. So I'm going to take you back to almost a year ago. Let's go to July of 2012, and let's see what we have in 2012 July. Oh, doesn't look like much. Let's go back to 2011. I was actually playing with this a lot in 2011, and I'm actually going to switch it as well. Instead of just doing a monthly, I want to show the calendar view instead of the time slot view. We're going to switch it. We're going to come back, and all of a sudden you can kind of see some of the different little activity. You know, some of the stuff, the reason it's not showing is I have other criteria here. I forgot about that as well. I'm saying just show this and just show just the customer time clocks. We're going to just change that, see if that adds a few more pieces to it. Let me do a reset on this page. Basically, I'm trying to look for some details and values, and then I wanted to show you what we actually have going on. So I'm going to go back to that again, July of 2011, hit search. There we go. That's what I was looking for. I wanted to kind of change it up and show you some different things that we had kind of been playing with, but I had some of the other criteria that was in there that was kind of like filtering that stuff. The neat thing about elements of time is that if you have too many in a thing, it'll actually expand so that you can actually have more room. You can also expand some of your cells. These are all done by settings as well. Currently it's on a medium time slot. If I expand that to extra large, a lot of those scroll bars will actually go away. And so now you can see that most of the things, I have the pieces that I need to. All this stuff in blue right here, this is called extra subs, extra things that actually started on this date that may or may not be relative as far as like what actually shows. If it bothers you, it's actually a bunch of really good information. Basically what you can do is you can actually come down here and you can say, hey, just hide that. Hide all of those subs, just show me the plain pieces again. And now it kind of cleans up your calendar a little bit so you can take a look at it. Okay, so that was just a quick little dibble-dabble into elements of time. We actually set up our own time templates and a bunch of different things. We then spent a bunch of time dealing with customers, and customers have relationships all around the board. Everything that's here close to customers is basically connected to them. Customer log, this is how you record data and information. Statements, how many different little notes have happened to the like how many invoices have you done for the person, etc., etc. So real quick, before I just start just talking and talking and talking, I'm actually going to turn it back here to the students who are in the class and kind of ask them what they remember from yesterday and see if that will kind of stimulate some discussion, and so we can kind of go from there. Shannon, what did you like that we covered yesterday? I'm basically just trying to bring some of these other people up to speed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I really enjoyed going over recipe and build. I was excited to see more with that too. I'm excited to understand how to use that more efficiently.
Okay.
I thought it was interesting though.
Okay, so recipe and builds, it was pretty cool. We basically popped into recipe and builds. We actually built a new one that was called Kid eCall Build, and this is a build and hold dealing with actually almost miniature manufacturing. And then we also played with some of the other ones that were some of the build and sell and that type of a deal. Just for fun, in case nobody's seen it, I'm going to do one that I'm calling my Big Mac combo. This was just for fun. This is a build and sell, so it means as soon as I do it, it will actually populate it to an invoice. Okay? I clicked on the build prep, which gets me to this page, and then I have just a bunch of different little pieces of the puzzle that are here. So I have, here's the sandwich, the bun, the ketchup, the mustard, the cheese, the lettuce, the pickle. And I can basically come down here and say, oh, they want ketchup, they want mustard, they want lettuce, they do want cheese. Actually, they want a double cheese on both sides, so I better put that down here. And then they also wanted a fry and a drink and do the build. Click. Basically, I haven't started any carts yet, so at the first time, every single time you start the first day of the cart, say, hey, which kind do you want? So I'll just say that, and here it goes. We just added all of those items at one little time. This is kind of interesting. These are hidden. And so virtually what happens is they technically are attached, but when the person finally gets their end thing, they won't see it. just a quick little example, if I hit printable cart right here, you can see that it just shows just the ones that were show instead of just the hidden ones. So it kind of makes it fun. But I'm going to actually go right back to the cart. You can get back to the cart at any point in time by clicking on either of these icons, the cart or the little thing that says view cart. And we're just going to quickly do a quick little checkout. I'm going to change this to counter sale and hit checkout. And I'm just going to say that this was cash. And we'll say create the invoice. And boom, here you go. You can see that it actually just has just those 3 pieces. Well, watch this. If I click on more options, all of a sudden I have show hidden lines, show like a whole bunch of different things. If I want to see it with hidden lines, click. There's all of my hidden line items right there. If I go to the edit mode for this particular thing, I can either click here, which is a quick one, or I can go here and there's all options as well. Basically, we're heading to the edit line items page. It'll show me all of my different pieces and kind of say which one's hidden or shown or whatever. If I needed to actually show one, like say this cheese one, like you literally can manipulate anything you need to. It's as easy as saying, hey, you need to be shown. Click. Once we edit this particular piece, when it comes back, you can now see that my cheese, both sides, is going to be show. And so if I actually do a printable version of this, my cheese now shows up. That makes sense. And so you can hide and show all sorts of different little pieces. All that was is basically a small little demo of this random little recipe, build and sell recipe that we had done. Okay, Cheryl, let's call on you for just a second. See if you can tell us something that we did yesterday that would be kind of fun to let these guys know about.
Oh wow, so many of them were fun. Let's see what. I enjoy inventory.
Okay.
Just because that seems to be something that
that's a core. That's a huge core.
Yep. And so it's kind of fun to watch how things affect the inventory, how it goes in, how it goes out. You know, it's just.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we entered a whole bunch of little candy bars. I'm going to flip over to another little screen for just a second. And if we're talking about inventory, you literally want to start thinking of containers, pipes, buckets. Okay? When you start thinking of this, this is what we do inside of Adilas. We basically create a little placeholder, and each one contains a different part. This particular picture, it's a tube, so you have incomings and outgoings. I'm just going to grab my marker for just a real quick second. So your ins are right here. Anything comes in, and each tube is a separate little spot. This is your POs, okay? And then your outs come out the other side, and that would be your quotes or your invoices. But each little pipe has to have its own little placeholder once we're dealing with inventory, okay? These are some good little examples right here of just like what this type of stuff does. But just for kicks, let's go ahead and we are basically going to go in here and actually create a small little object and run with it. So yesterday we created a whole bunch of like candy bar type stuff. You guys want to do something like that or something different? We're going to create an item, bring it in, and sell it a little bit. Are you okay with candy? I like candy. Okay, so perfect. So what we did is we have 2 options. We can either start from the vendor or from the PO. In order to get things into our general inventory pool, they have to come in through this category right here. This is kind of like their portal, if you will, into that section of the application. So if we already have the vendor, that's awesome, it exists. We then create a new PO, which basically allows them to attach. We then check to see if it's actually physically in the pool or if we need to add it. So the first thing we're going to do, just to make it simple, is let's do a PO. And yesterday we added M&Ms and Snickers, and so we're going to do that. And then the third thing we're going to do is we're going to add a new piece of candy. And why don't those who are remote, why don't you guys chime in and tell us what a cool piece of candy is that we can add? And I'll start this process, okay? So I'm actually, the quickest way for me to do this, I can technically go to any of these places. I could go PO, create a new PO, which then will ask me for a vendor. So that took me 3 steps. Or if I wanted to, I could totally skip all of that from anywhere that I'm at and just say vendor, and I'm going to type in the piece of our puzzle. we called this vendor ourselves, which basically would be the name of your company. And this was just for training that we actually called it ourselves. But we're going to now click on this little link that says Create PO. Once we create the PO, I'm going to have it a live type. There's a number of different options. Some of these are permissions as well, so you may not have this many, and they might be spelled or said different. They are what we call a corp-wide setting. I'm going to just say, got more candy. We're going to come down. I don't know how much this value is. We're kind of faking it right now, so I'm going to leave it blank, and I'm going to come back and fill that in later. And I'm going to say, yes, I did get the items. Say add the PO. What this does is this virtually creates this little piece that I'm now going to be able to kind of connect the vendor to that inventory pool, if that makes sense. And so right here I have an ID number, came back as 55. That's my ID number. And so now if I look at this page, I'm on the PO line items page. What I have is I have a search at the top, I have the main line items, I currently have 0 in my line items, and then I have additional search forms. Every single search form, all these buttons, like, whoa, where do they go? It depends on where you're at. Like right now, we don't have anything, so it's like it feels like they're really stacked. But say you had a PO that had 100 some odd line items or 1,000 line items, and you're way down at the bottom. You don't want to have to scroll all the way back up to the top to get that. So that's why there's multiple ways that you can kind of get to this pretty quick. So we have this. I already know that we have a thing called Snickers. I'm just going to put a portion of the word in there. And it doesn't even have to be the first part of the word. Like I could do whatever I wanted and it'll try to go find that particular piece, okay? Boom, it found Snickers, and I'm going to say add this as a basic line item. And Cheryl, how many are we getting for Snickers today? 50 cents a piece.
Oh, let's do 150.
150, great. So it's really this easy. We searched, we found it, we enter this piece, and we go down. Now you'll notice real quick, you'll see that this request quantity is actually grayed out. I cannot click there. Okay? The reason that is because we are in a live PO. We totally skipped any of the request or order process. We're live right now. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and say add the item. Okay, what happened here is we now have some little flags that are starting to show, something's wrong. It's okay. We're going to come back and fix that. So I have $75 worth. I have 150 at 50 cents. To get some Snickers coming in. Next thing I'm going to do is add my M&Ms. There's my M&Ms, and I'm going to say as a basic item. Shannon, how many we got here?
75.
75 of these, also at 50 cents a piece. And we just say add the line item. So that was really easy. We already had the vendor. We already had those 2 items that basically did its trip to check to see if those little containers existed. So here's what happened. The container existed. Yep. Okay, shove it in. Did the container exist? Yep, shove it in. This next one we're going to do, the container will not exist, so we're going to have to take a small sidestep, okay? So, Shannon, were there any chimes in on candy? Okay, then I get to pick. Hot tamales, yeah, I love hot tamales. So to be really specific, I'm just going to go hot, okay? I want to see what do I have under this particular vendor, which is basically ourselves, under hot. I'm going to hit search. Gives me an error message, this is a very positive error message to say, hey, I don't have anything that even remotely matched hot under this vendor. So you're like, okay, great, let's add a new one. We're going to click in here, and I'm going to tell it that we got to have at least 100 of these things because we're going to sell them, okay? Hot, okay, here's where I really lack is on the spelling. T-O-M-A-L-E-S? Okay, do it again.
T-A-M-A-M-A-L-E-S.
Tamales.
Now we know why Shannon
Okay.
gets big bucks.
I know. What would I do without Shannon? Okay, we're gonna basically physically track the inventory. This right here is how you change it between a physical item and an unlimited, like a labor or a service item. So we're gonna say physically track it. We're gonna click our categories, and yesterday we added one called candy. And we're going to come down here and we're going to say hot tamales. Hot, just for fun. You can see the difference is the product number and the description are different. This one actually has up to 255 characters, so you could be pretty descriptive if you really needed to. it has X number of calories and you will get X number per box. And I'm just teasing, but basically you could be more descriptive if you wanted to. A reference number is not required. It's an additional lookup field. The cost, let's say that these ones are not quite as expensive as our candy bars. So let's go 45 cents a piece. And we are going to sell them for, I think some of our other ones we were selling for like pretty cheap, like 87 cents. So why don't we do, we'll do 85 cents. It's a little bit cheaper, okay? 0.85. I'm going to change this. As soon as I start changing these pieces, I want you to watch right here in this price helper. It's actually going to kind of start helping me know where things are going and what the markups are, okay? So currently, I would be at a 1.89 markup or a 47% profit margin. That's a neat little thing that kind of helps you. So if I modify this and said, hey, what would it be at $1? As soon as I move out of this field, I just normally click somewhere, it automatically recalculates, hey, you'd be at a 55% profit margin and a 2.22 markup, okay? So I'm just going to kind of go back down to the 85 cents. Okay, we're going to scroll down. These are going to be sold as each. This is your units of measurements. We're going to just leave it where it was on each. They are going to be taxable. If you have a barcode stuff, here's a cool little hint. If you're adding new pieces and you really are using barcodes, get everything else loaded, put your cursor right here so it's blinking in the barcode thing, and then you basically tip your product, take your barcode thing, and you zap it. And what it does is it will read the barcode number, enter it into this field, and submit it. So you could basically be 100% hands-free. I wouldn't even have to use my mouse. If it's blinking right here, I literally could go like this. Blink. As soon as it does the read, it does it and enters it. So make sure everything else is prepped, but that's actually how you load barcodes into your system, if that makes sense. So I'm going to just leave it alone and just say add the product. So at this point, we now have 3 line items totaling $157.50. We had 2 of them that already existed, which were the Snickers and the M&Ms, and we had to add the hot tamales. Okay? So I still have a problem that says, hey, you've got a disconnect here. You have a disconnect here. Oh, sorry, just the check math. And I don't have printable options up here. Those are the ways that I can tell if anything is happening. Also, if I were to go to the PO homepage right now, this particular PO, number 55, would have a frowny face by it. I'm just going to go there for just a quick second so you can see it. Oh, looks like I have another one that I needed to fix as well. Okay, so basically these are flags to kind of be like, something's wrong. This particular flag, if I scroll down to the bottom, it actually says what it's for. This flag shows a mismatch between the amount and the sum of the line items. Okay, so it means the main and the line items are slightly different. I'm going to go into edit mode on 55 here, and we're going to see if we can get rid of this smiley face. So basically, I can see that the problem is what we call on the main. This is a 0 amount. Right up here, I'm going to click Edit Main, which basically takes me into this main category. Click Edit Main. I'm going to scroll down, and right here is my problem, okay? I didn't put anything when I originally did this, but it's saying the sum of my line items is $157.50. Well, maybe you didn't know this when you started. If you have a piece of paper in front of you, usually you know that value. Like if you physically have a piece of paper and you ordered this or you've already done something, usually you have a paper trail. You're like, okay, the total amount's going to be, $2,000 or whatever. But if you don't know, you can build it up and then you come back. You circle back around, okay? I'm going to just change this right now. Let's go 157.5. If I were to make this different, what would actually happen is it would actually still say, check your math, okay? It's got to match exactly, and once it matches, it'll be very happy. So if I click Edit the PO, this was the Edit Main, I now no longer have that check math flag here. I also have a printable option, and down here, it totally satisfied my remaining or problems that were different, okay? I have 0 payments, which is great. We just basically pulled this thing in. We currently have ourselves as the company name, so eventually we're going to have to pay for this. We were just kind of pulling these in. We'll talk about paying for them in a minute. And also, if I go to the PO homepage, if I click here, we just got rid of the little smiley face on that guy.
Frowny.
Correct. The frowny face. Good call. So now if I go to the printable, this is basically a nice casual way. If you wanted to, for any PO, if you wanted to, there's also options for save as PDF. you could click Save as PDF, and what it does is it virtually takes all of the color out of the background and creates it into just a nice, fairly easy to read type thing. You could either file this, or if you're sending and you're digitally connecting with your vendors, you could be like, instead of making this a live PO, if this was actually an order, you could technically send them an order. And so that's kind of one of the ways that you can do. You just save as PDF. Once it's in this form, it technically is a PDF. You can see how there's all this wrapper is all your PDF wrapper stuff, but I still need to save it. It still needs to kind of help me know that, hey, I need to actually physically save this PDF to somewhere. And let's just call this practice PDF. How about practice PO? We'll just hit save. Now it physically exists, okay? Now I could actually attach that to an email. I'm going to hit back in order to get out of this particular piece. You'll notice there's no links in the PDF format because you created a document which technically can leave your secured environment, and so we don't want any links back into the mothership. So I'm going to hit back right here, and we're now happy campers. We have some product in here, and we can now go sell them.